Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 vs. Chevrolet Corvette Grand Sport, 2017. Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. Every time Chevy does a new high-performance Camaro, someone invariably dismisses it as just a Camaro, as if nothing's changed since the 1980s. Cutting the roof off only doubles down on the perception that it's not a real sports car, and in the case of the 2017 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 convertible, that couldn't be any more wrong than dismissing the Camaro out of hand in the first place. Beyond the obvious, not much extra goes into building a drop-top ZL1. That's not because Chevy phoned it in, but rather the exact opposite. Chief Engineer Al Oppenheiser says the sixth-generation Camaro was designed from the top down, that is, the latest Camaro was designed as a 650 horsepower monster first, and then it was tamed down to a four-cylinder. Likewise, the Camaro convertible was designed to handle a supercharged V8 and was then whittled down to a V6 airport rental for Los Angeles. As such, every convertible gets the same underbody bracing, and no special reinforcement was needed for the ZL1 convertible. Thus, like other convertible Camaros, Chevy estimates it'll weigh just 200 pounds more than a coupe, which would put it at just under 4,150 pounds. Unfortunately, it does come at a cost. Not only does the ZL1 convertible start $6,000 higher, at just under $70,000, but the convertible hardware Chevy Corvette Grand Sport. There's something about a red sports car that takes you back in time, makes you feel like a kid again. In this case, the Corvette Grand Sports takes me back to the summer of, I think, 2008, when I was working at a boatyard and dealing with a fair amount of fiberglass resin and hardener. The interior of this Vette smells like a Sea Ray factory. God, I miss those off-gassing ketones. But once the smell dissipates, as I imagine it will, or you just get used to it, as I did, you're left with one hell of a car. The engine kicks over with sort of a low-frequency grunt that you feel as much as hear. When I first drove off, on a cool fall day, the car wasn't super happy. Tight turning maneuvers, such as those undertaken while parking, get a little crunchy due to the limited slip differential and wide rear tires. The gear selector felt bound up, even notchy, which isn't a good sign on a car that's less than 4,000 miles old. It was impossible to put down any amount of power without the back tires wanting to hop around, and besides, the springy clutch wanted to bite. Turns out everything just needed to get warmed up, including me. The gearbox smoothed it out, and once you get the clutch feel down, you won't forget, like riding a bicycle. You won't forget the sound, either. It's spectacular. Like each Stingray we've tested, this one is capable of some impressive acrobatics, and thanks to the fancy magneto-rheological suspension standard on this trim, it's capable of soaking up some gnarly road imperfections in the process. Unlike the new crop of modern, German sports cars, it demands you pay attention at all times. Get too comfortable and you run the risk of dropping into second gear a little too eagerly on a cold morning before the tires start gripping and sliding ass backward into a ditch. Or even worse, you could stall out at a stoplight. So, it doesn't drive itself. There are plenty of sports cars that very nearly do, but why would you want that? You might wonder whether or not the world needed a car plunked down between the Z51 and the Z06, with the standard issue LT.